What's up, everybody? Smoking Mechanic here. Bring you up to date on a little project we're working on. Y'all seen this truck before. This is a 82 square body. Friend of mine, part of his collection. And trying to bring y'all up to speed of what we're doing now. Y'all seen where we did some engine work and stuff like that before. Alright. Got some other ideas for up here in the front. Y'all seen where we did the power stop systems on this thing. I'm a real fan of the power stop brake systems. Love the rotors, love the pads, low dust, work really good. The problem with this truck is the stance doesn't sit the way he wants, and I agree. So after quite a bit of negotiation and talking and everything, we decided to eliminate most of the factory front suspension. So you can see this is a coil spring setup, external shock. This stuff's like heavy enough to be in a 3/4 ton truck. It's heavy. It doesn't function the greatest. You know, it's creaky, it's stiff, it's just not what you can make the best on these things. So we talked to the guys over at QA1, and they were able to hook us up with a kit. A little bit of difficulties in receiving the parts and stuff, you know, a whole lot of problems and issues with that with the pandemic that's going on. Our biggest delay was the sway bar assembly from QA1, which this vehicle doesn't even have a sway bar. So you can tell there was no bolts ever put in there for a sway bar, no Mars in the frame where a sway bar was placed, and that's really going to change the drivability of this thing. It's going to make it a lot better. So I'll show you the components we're going to be going with on this thing. Oh. So we got a bunch of QA1 stuff. So there's a tubular lower control arm, all the new hardware and everything, bracketry, and in that box is also the sway bar. So, and then, you know, just box and box and box after box of stuff. So easily to turn around and replace each one of these components, and whoa, bam! Holy moly, what a change, huh? So you can see we've done the my light. You can see we've replaced the factory upper control arm. We have new bracketry up here, which required a lot of work to get that to work. So if you aren't prepared to do some cutting, then that ain't the job for you. Relocation of the brake line. Originally it's in the upper control arm. So now it's mounted into the frame section. I went ahead and upgraded from the standard squeeze clamp link for the inner and outer tie rod to these beautiful QA1s. You can see these coilovers are a single adjustable. No need to go too crazy with it. You know, he's not racing it or anything like that, so we don't really need a dual adjustable coilover. The coilover itself is going to help us adjust the ride height, get the stance where he wants it. Very, very nice fasteners, equipment, and materials that QA1 puts into these things. Even has a new bump stop assemblies. So you have the one for the lower and one in the upper. I got these fit this 82 spindles perfectly. There was concerns about, you know, anything prior to 73 has a different size and taper on the spindles. And you know, when you get into a vehicle you don't really know a whole lot about, there's always that chance. So I was lucky I don't have to modify or ream out the spindles to change the taper or size. No issues with the power stop brake system with it. It has a very nice section there on the bump stop for the turn stop, with the location of the coilovers there. We don't have any problems reaching in to be able to make an adjustment on the knob. And we have good clearance here to make adjustments on the ride height with the coil spring. So you'll be able to break the jam nut loose. Well, it's actually loose right now, but tighten this top nut, which would compress the spring, in turn raise the front of the truck up, and vice versa. With all the way down, it would lower the front of the truck. Right now I just got them all the way low, so that way we can get a measurement once we put the wheels back on, set the truck back down on the ground, and we'll know basically in the area of how high I'm going to have to adjust it to bring it up. So it even came with the new U-bolts. These cross shafts are finely machined. These things are fantastic. So smooth in operation. We got Zert fittings all over on each one of the connecting points, which will keep this thing in service for quite a long time. Like I say, this is not a job for just your average weekend warrior that doesn't have some good equipment to work with. I use plasma cutters, torches, all kinds of stuff. You got rivets that hold the original plate on here. If anybody's ever dealt with them rivets, you know what kind of a pain in the butt those things can be. So all the rivets were replaced with these fasteners that came with the kit. So you got grade 5 fasteners, and they use poly lock nuts, so you don't ever have to worry about that stuff coming back loose once you've got it all torqued down. The instructions are very good by giving you torque specs. I put the original shims back in, and just as a reference point. So this is for camber caster adjustments. So once we get it down on the ground and kind of see where we're at, I may even have to deal with an alignment shop to readjust these. Unfortunately, that's equipment I do not have, but we got a couple of nice shops in the area locally that can handle that type of situation. Anyways, just giving y'all a rundown, let y'all see what this is all about, because this is turning out fantastic. I'm just trying to bring a little bit of content to you guys. Hope you like the kind of stuff that I'm putting in there. Some people will sit down and break down and give you this long old video and fast forward it so you can see, you know, the kind of work and stuff that goes through it. For me, I'm thinking y'all just kind of want to see the end product most of the time. So with a little bit of description of, you know, some of the things that I've dealt with on installations or teardowns or what have you, I think that's the pertinent part. Y'all let me know if y'all want to see more stuff. You actually want to see me wrenching or cutting or, you know, or anything like that, hit me up. Let me know. All right, well, I'm gonna cut this one a little short because I still got the other side to do. All right, well, again, you know, shoot me a comment if there's something else you want to see. You want to see more stuff, or just don't like it at all, I won't. So as you can see here, I got the 4 bolts removed, the frame side, and then the 4 rivets cut off on the cross member side, so the factory original bracket can come off. And due to the fact the spring pocket is here for the coil spring, we're not using it anymore, so that has to be removed. So what I did is you take the bracket from QA1, which is going to be the top mount for the coilover mount, use it as a guide to make my marks. And also, it doesn't sit quite flat. So you notice here, this one hole, access hole, I have to open it up just a little bit down on the low side. So, like I said, you can do this with a plasma cutter or a torch, or just fastest way. I'm sure somebody could sit there with, I don't know, airsaw or whatever and do that, but God, it'd take forever doing it that way. So, just moving on to the next step. These rivets right here, I cut the top of them off, I got the plate off, lopping off the tops of these with a torch, and then I use the air chisel to drive them out. Like I said, if you ain't prepared to do this kind of work, you might want to farm this out to somebody, you know, if this is the kind of system you want to put on your C10 square body. And I'm still, once I put the plate on here, I'll have to mark it out. So the coilover has to come through this hole. So this has to be enlarged. And of course I can do that with plasma cutter or torch, either one.